Welcome to another CEO Wisdom podcast. We have Geeta with us today. Geeta Mistry, she's CEO and the broker slash company owner at Royale Realty Brokerage. She has a nice Porsche Cayenne on her LinkedIn profile picture. It's red so that you don't miss it. She's in real estate and in Toronto. So I'm from Montreal, and the real estate market has been an ever-growing bubble in my opinion, and I didn't know that right now it was not doing so well. So I have a bunch of questions for Geeta today. Before we get into the pod, this one is presented to you by podplayer.com. She wants to download her free ebook and masterclass on how to start your podcast in 2025. We help you do so through AI and monetize through lead gen, sponsors, and AdSense money. So it's pretty interesting to start a podcast nowadays. You can go to podpirate.com for that. Geeta, glad to have you on. Tell me a bit more about yourself and what you're up to nowadays.
Yeah, so these days, like I said, I'm a broker in real estate. I own my own brokerage, and over the last 7+ years, we've been successful and top agents out here in the GTA. And currently, just to get a float of the market and see, once interest rates go down, so the buying power starts happening. But main focus right now is just trying to make sure people are educated about closing their pre-construction deals, which is like a 3 to 5 year span. So that is the niche that I'm in, trying to enter also in the resale and commercial markets as well, and then eventually also try to grow my brokerage as well with
And
more.
why is the market not doing well right now? And is it only in Toronto or in full Canada?
It's full Canada, and I bet it's more of a worldwide issue actually, because of high interest rates. But we do foresee that the Bank of Canada, by time July comes, like we've got 5 more interest rate, drops that will probably occur. So staying positive, by July, it's going to drop. And everybody will be in a better space as well. So, but yeah, it's all to do with inflation, right? So people's buying and immigration, etc.
Right. And interest rate, precisely how much is it right now vs what it was in during COVID?
Oh, so right now we've dropped down to the 3.25. That's with the Bank of Canada rate, right? But if you're actually getting a mortgage, you're looking at around 5-6% interest, right?
Okay.
That's with one of the 5 banks in Canada. Down by in COVID 5 years ago, we were at the 2.5. People were locking in at 2%. So now what's happening is also people from 5 years ago are having all their renewals. Obviously, if they were at the 2% and now they're having to pay 5-6%, obviously that's a huge downpour where people are selling up losses, etc. It's a very tough market right now, and for individuals.
And in Mexico, it's a flat 10% rate. What would like? Why is it so high? I mean, it's an international real estate question, but why is it so high here in Mexico? And don't you think that this is sort of harming the economy when the interest rates are so high?
Yes, it is. Well, especially, all these interest rates, everything is all driven by like the economy, inflation, immigration, what's happened. And not sure what's going to happen once, now that Donald Trump has been president now. He's imposing those 25% tariffs in Canada. So a lot of impact is going to happen. But hopefully, we always used to say that when immigration is coming into Canada, this is why people were buying a lot. Because here in Canada, it's more of a not a buyer's market, it's a renter's market. So people who are investors, they're the ones who are going to be investing and having wealth generation and etc., where the immigrants are going to come in and they're going to be the renters who are going to pay your mortgage, right? And here what we're trying to do is educate the people here how to build generational wealth. And I personally have done the same, and I'm educating what I've done. I'm very open book. sharing how I've done my path. Like past, 7 years of me being a realtor, I've bought 6 properties, and things are going to close in the tough times. You explain, yeah, I'm in the same boat, but we're just hoping, things actually do get much better. I don't know if you've heard about in Canada, all the immigration people are going to be going back, people whose visas are expiring, all the fake colleges and fake universities, etc. All those people are going to go back. But what people don't understand is, yes, that's good said and done. Everybody's getting deported, etc. But what they don't realize, those were the folks that would be paying the rental income. So when that's gone, what's going to happen?
Good question, because I interviewed a very prominent person on my podcast 2, 3 days ago of Jewish origins, and he sent me an article about the anti-Semitism that's going on in Toronto, 560% more hate crimes, and that got me to study this article. And yes, there was the mention of all the illegal immigration, and I couldn't make myself up on the point because yeah, illegal immigration, it's somewhat toxic, but it's also pretty good for the economy as well. Um, Renters market, when you're saying that, is it that 85% of the real estate money that flows comes from renters? Is that what you mean by renters
Yeah.
market, or?
So what I mean is that all these properties and investments everyone's buying, all these high rises, like here in Canada, used to be a point where you could afford to buy homes, but this generation, I myself have 2 boys, like 22 and 25. No way this generation can afford to buy. They can only rent, like based on their incomes. Like you need basically minimum like $200,000 income just to even buy, a 500, $600,000 one-bedroom condo, right? Let alone a house. How would you afford? But all these renters that are out there, they're the ones, like I said, everybody who bought during the COVID time. It was strange. In an unpredictable market where you don't know if you're going to live or die in COVID, people had stacks of money and they were buying like crazy. Pre-con just hit the roof while everybody was not working. We were working till like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, doing sales, selling a piece of paper. And now all the closings are happening and people are walking away from their deposits, walking and not closing, and they don't realize that they're losing their deposit, but also builders are going out there and suing them too, which
Whoa.
rightly they should do, because end of the day, contract is a contract. When you sign a legal obligation, you know what you're signing, right? So what's happening out there is that people are selling on assignment, selling at a loss just to take their name off, right? But I think it's gonna take probably, like, I think 1 year, one more year when these rates go down for the real estate industry to turn around. Because as you've probably seen the economics, this is the lowest low since 1996.
Whoa. No, I'm like not aware of all of that, but I knew it was coming, right? With all these stimulus checks,
Yeah.
people thought, yeah, they were spending like there was no tomorrow. And what you're saying precisely is that there's this real estate investor, they build a condo project, and then I would drop 20K to reserve my unit or something like that.
Not even 20. You're talking 20% deposits. So
Holy, okay.
So back in
So,
5 years ago, the deposit in a year would be 15%, 10%. Right now, in these bad markets, these past 2 years, builders are just offering 5% each year. You have to pay. Now, when you're closing, you're topping off to make it 20% deposit, to
whoa.
get a mortgage without those CMHC rules, without the insurance. You got to put 20% down. So what's happening is people have their closings. They're going to go to the bank to get a mortgage. Let's say per se they paid something for 850K but on contract price. The appraisal currently, because of the high interest rates, the appraisal may come in at 700,000. So okay,
Wow.
put the 20%, but the difference from 700 to 850, which is the 150K, you're having to top that off to get approved.
Okay.
on top of closing costs. So do you think the average person has that?
No,
So
probably not. So, and how much does it, this money was dropped how long ago? Like, do I have to wait to get my unit like a year or two, or is it pretty
yeah.
quick?
So depending on the builder and how big the high rise is, a mid rise, let's say, anywhere from like, let's say 6 to 15, 16 story, takes about 2 years, 3 years, right? So back
Wow.
in 2020, like I have a condo that we sold like 40 plus units in 2020 in February, right before COVID. COVID hit March 2020, and that was a 25% deposit. Everybody's put 20. It's supposed to have been ready October 2024. It's a 50 story. Now the builder tells us that, it's not going to be ready till 2028, 29.
Oh my God.
So we as realtors are actually
But
waiting.
don't they have contractual obligations to finish it on, in some
Yeah,
deadline? Because what if I'm depending on that, and I have
it
to wait
doesn't
for,
matter. So what happens is there's in Canada there's a builder's warranty called Tarion, right? And in the Tarion they cover that. Okay, if there's a delay, they have to show an amendment saying that there's a delay of this certain time. Then if there's a second and a third, etc., then there is a possibility of getting your money back as well. But what's happened is that over the time right now, there's more and more delays. So if there was a condo out in Toronto, they say 4 or 5 years, but it's not going to be ready till 6 7 years plus, right?
wow, okay, yeah, that's pretty bad. Then getting back to the renters equation, yeah, I think myself, I'm in a different class, so definitely can afford it. But renting is fun. Why? Because I've seen the LA fires, and my place right now, which I'm renting, it's a very nice house here in Mexico, and it's near a wood. So what if it burns? Do
Yeah.
I lose my full? I mean, I could insure myself, sure, but then how long would I have to wait till they pay me back? And it offers me some flexibility. There's the global warming right now. I want like a beachside house as well, but what if it's hit by a hurricane, right?
Yeah.
There's all these risks for me, and to me, owning a house is not really an investment, right? I can just go start a SaaS company and have it almost immediately profitable and cash cowing some money right now. So, what do you think about that philosophy of mine of not still not being sure to buy or to rent? I want to buy at least one house for sure, but buying many, if I do it, would be to Airbnb them, and my wife would manage them. So, what do you think about all that?
I think it's good to actually do that because I found like I have a couple of properties already that are under rent. The rent is paying my mortgage, right? It's basically building my generational wealth, and I've done that for my kids as well. I have properties under their names, so I built their wealth. So what happens is the rent is paying the rent, sorry, the mortgage, right? My own mortgage. Now, when I want to do, like you said, you could do a startup company or something like that, another business. Have the wealth first. Now, when I go to the bank and say, "Hey, I'd like to take a loan," right? I have equity that I can pull out of my homes to fund that investment or that business or whatever I want to pursue. So you're actually killing two stones at the same time, right? Is it? Yeah, I think that's the phrase. I think, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, so
two birds, one stone.
it's always beneficial to do that. Sometimes what happens here is that people start a business, then they're at a loss, and there's no recoupment of money, right? At least in real estate, it'll always keep growing, keep growing and growing, right? Like I'll tell you, 8 years ago, I wasn't in this kind of a real estate market. When I got into the prior to this role, I'm a software sales executive. So
Yeah.
20 years I worked corporate. And how did I not know about real estate? And now looking back, and how well I've done and meeting individuals. And actually, I'll tell you something. I actually learn a lot from clients. When clients and investors come to you and they tell you what they're doing, I used to look at them, oh my God, aren't you not scared? Like I know one person who owns 50 units. And I'm like, how do you even do it? Like, because what's happening here also in general and renters, it's pretty horrible in Canada, is that tenants have more rights than landlords. right?
I mean, yeah, and everywhere in the world, people will always have more rights than businesses, and I mean that's a hot philosophical topic, right? Because yeah, you can see Elon nowadays trying to apply his corporate principles, well, not corporate, but like startup principles and like getting shit done and making lots of money principles to society. I don't think that applies at all.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to some degree, but yeah, that guy, I don't, it could wreak mayhem through the people. So I think it's somewhat good that we come with a disadvantage as business owners. Anyways, we're so used to being the underdogs, right? So I think it's just better that way. Um, Now, do you think really that real estate will scale? Do you think it will keep its value? What if there's a YC, a Y Combinator company that pops off tomorrow and they can build house with robots for a cost of $1,000? Don't you think that will be a thing one day?
I can say, you know what, technology, yeah, anything can happen, right? But I really believe it's like it's like a cycle, right? Like 6 years ago, 5 years ago, sorry, right? Who knew that interest rates would drop, not drop, sorry, go high so much and now start to drop? It's like a pattern, a roller coaster. But we found shelter is always required. You always need a home, right? And people are always going to have jobs. They need a place to live. They're always going to be investing. So it's a market that will never go away. Like you said, if robots come in, construction workers, etc., their jobs are eliminated. But I think in the mechanism of the building of homes, I think it's labor that's required. I don't think it would be robot based, right?
Right.
Yeah, so I think out there, it'll always continue. There is a lot of land here in Canada, and they're always building. But I think if I had to say something, that the homes will diminish and there'll be more high rises.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Especially in metropolis. Yeah. Home. Yeah. Bots and homes. You're right. Everyone needs to feel a sense of home, but what do you think about like yeah, disasters that may occur? Does it just mean that we will build stronger houses, like houses that are hurricane proof, houses
Yeah.
that are fireproof? Because like this house here in Mexico, it's built on concrete, right? It's not built out of wood, so it wouldn't burn as fast
No,
as these
you're
North American
speaking.
homes.
So, okay,
Yeah,
so my background is I'm actually from England. I'm born
yeah,
and raised in UK. My family's back there. The homes there are made of brick, right?
yeah,
The older homes. Now in Canada, we call the regular detached and semi-detached home paper homes. Just like the LA fires just now, within one little light match or whatever, the whole thing's gone, right? If you're in a brick, oh, the structure will stay up, right? It
yeah.
will stay up. So here as well, the only natural disaster that I see here in Canada, apart from if you're living in the forestry areas where there are the fires in the BC and in Vancouver, all those areas, here there's only the one thing we can look at is the ice cold,
Okay.
right? The snowstorms.
Yeah.
There's nothing really of a disaster nature where insurance companies wouldn't insure. Like, for example, like you're saying, Mexico, there, LA, insurance companies are probably going belly up and not, doing insurances for people, right? Not even giving anybody because of what's happened now, right? So I'd hate to see what those insurance companies have to pay out now. They're probably
It's
gone.
always interesting to analyze these insurance companies, right? They're exactly like a casino. It's like if we're winning, but when we lose and we're supposed to pay out, like we go under. Isn't that ironic?
Yeah, exactly. And now I'll tell you what's happening here. Forget the real estate. Here in Toronto now and GTA, there's a high amount of carjackings
Yeah.
and everything. So myself also driving, um, you know, the success of my business and everything, buying a Porsche car, Porsche Cayenne, right, is a vehicle that's highly what you call it, right?
Okay.
So here now, insurance companies are charging skyrocket fees because certain areas now have, more accidents, more theft, etc., and that's determining the insurance premiums, right? So everything's red,
Yes.
right?
And you bought it red.
I bought it brand new and I bought it red. So I'm known in the
The
industry.
red is like an extra 400 premium per month
Yes, with that.
alone.
Yeah, and I kind of lucked out during COVID. In 2022, usually you have to order 1-2 years, and it just came on the website, and I'm like, I went to the dealership, and next day just financed and bought it. So,
Yeah,
but
it's a dream come true, right? Like, what's your philosophy with like buying stuff like that maybe on your vision board or something? Like, did you feel bad like spending the money on that? And yeah, what's your philosophy with
so
spending to achieve your dreams?
Okay, so and I always share that experience with all my clients, right? Because the first thing clients see with a fancy car, they think, oh, okay, they're going to be charging high commissions, etc. What I tell people, I bought my 5 condos during the time of my 7 year. At that time, it was 5 years, right? I was working. I bought my 5 condos at that time, took care of my kids, paid for their universities, everything. Then I took care of myself. So my vision board was not to take care of myself first, build the dream first. And I always guide all my clients as well. Don't look at what other people have. Build your wealth yourself first. Start from the ground up. There's that whole saying, doing something, shut up, buying something, shut up, etc. I'm all over social media. I brag and boast and show because at the end of the day, I've remained humble. Buy everything, set the foundation first. Then you want to buy any dream car, you can afford to buy it, right?
Right.
And
So
that's
that Cayenne waited for a good 7, 10 years.
well,
That's a
uh,
lot of patience.
yeah, 29 years for sure, because I've been in Canada, right? I mean, I had other vehicles, but to buy something that's like almost 200K, you're kind of like, okay, buy all the condos, buy the wealth first. Then, if I treat myself, now it's all about the car and vacations, lots of
Yeah.
vacations, because I've built that foundation. And what I found now is that I'm not only brokerage owner, I actually give a lot of guidance to clients how to make their generational wealth for their kids. Even when they come to me, first thing I ask them is, do you have children? And they tell
Yeah.
me 15-year-old, 16-year-old. I said, great. The condo's going to be finished 4 or 5 years. Going to switch the name to your kid's name. We're going to put it into them. Capital gains is tax free. And also, you built your kid's name. I'm all about helping the family because I know that there's a generation gap here as well, where I don't know, like I'm Indian, right? And I've seen that Indian, Chinese, they have the same thinking about helping their children out, whereas you may see many other nationalities, cultures, where their kid is like 18, 20, and they want to kick them out, and they won't even help them pay their loans and student. Like, set the foundation, right? The kid will come around eventually, right, when they see what you've done. But and I always tell my clients, you're worried about your kids going to run off and take your money? Register a lien. Then they can't do anything. They can't sell it. So, end of the day, I just kind of feel like Canada has been a very how it's multicultural country, and it's everybody's from all walks of life. I do see people wanting to do those things, but I think the country itself needs to reset.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
I fully agree with that. And yeah, let's keep generational wealth for another time because yeah, I'm still not sure about that philosophy. I want to teach my kids how to start business and to be
Mm.
super successful. Giving them the money, like
Yeah.
me, I don't want any money from my parents. I've always been like super independent. So, and I think that's the best way to go. But it's all about you stress, right? If I get toxic stress out of trying to build a business, if I fall flat on my face a couple of times, can be toxic at some point. So let's do round two as soon as we can. Where can we find out more about you, Geeta?
So basically, you can find me on LinkedIn, and then also my website, royalrealtybrokerage.com. So you can find me on there as well. And basically, Instagram is my niche. I actually have started doing more content creation and, filming 8 videos a month as well, just to keep going out there talking about real estate and just talking about any kind of topics that's going to help any consumers out there in general. So,
Love it.
so my platform mainly just been primarily Instagram and TikTok as well.
Geeta Mistry and Charles Courtney for